The trouble is, it gets harder and harder to lose weight with each passing year. We're all born with a certain number of fat cells. Once filled, they begin to replicate. And although they can be emptied, they remain there, always waiting to accept new storage of fat. This is a critical stage for Jen. If she doesn't harness the growth of her fat cells now, as a young person, it will be almost impossible to correct her weight as an adult. Left unchecked, fat can turn fatal.
For the past 5 years, Mark Minch has been confined to this bed.
Spring of 1999. Mark Minch arrives at the Gibsonburg Health Center in rural Ohio. Even in a nursing home for the super morbidly obese, Mark is a spectacle deemed worthy of the news cameras.
It's like being in hell. It's like being in prison, trapped in your own body, and not being able to do things you want.
17 years ago, at 350 pounds, he was mobile enough to play basketball. Although Mark is far from ordinary, his story suggests obesity could happen to almost anyone.
It was just depression mostly with me. Depression with my marriage. It wasn't going very well, and just kind of that. And just kind of started staying at home. That kind of thing. Just let it get worse. Just got more and more depressed and ate more and more. Like I said, you get in a vicious cycle. You get depressed, you eat. You get depressed because you eat, so you eat more. And it was like not being able to do anything gets you depressed, and it's just nasty. And you got to do something to try to break out of it.
When Mark came, he was brought on what was described as a flatbed truck. He basically could not fit into a regular ambulance. He was in the range of 12 to 1,400 pounds, so we could not weigh him at that time. My first reaction to Mark was one of, despair. I've had patients whose hands I've had to hold on their way down to the other side. You just accompany them, manage their death in a way. And I thought that there was a very high likelihood that this was what we're going to see with him. The only thing he was able to do was move his hands. He did his bodily functions in bed. He did not wear any clothes. He was covered with a sheet. And it took about 8 to 10 nurses to move him twice a day to clean him up. And several of them got back injuries as a result.
In a span of 10 years, Mark had gained more than 1,000 pounds. While the average American man consumes 2,900 calories a day, Mark routinely ate over 7,000. His favorite diet? 2 large pizzas, an entire loaf of bread, and a gallon of milk every day. Weight gain is a matter of thermodynamics. Energy in must equal energy out, otherwise it gets stored as fat. In Mark's case, he was virtually immobile, burning off next to no energy and making it possible to gain over 100 pounds every year.
No, I was basically bedbound. It would take almost the entire staff just to wash me up and stuff. And that lasted probably 4 or 5 months to where I was able to actually sit up for the first time in a long time. And with the therapy and stuff, get up and start walking around with the walker and stuff, and getting up and being able to sit in a wheelchair for a long time, to just walking and stuff and getting around better now.
The center is the only one of its kind in the country. Here, the staff, led by Dr. Christian, begin the process of treating morbid obesity by trying to find out what's behind all the overeating.
My name is Ron McLaughlin. I'm from Tennessee. I've been here for a little over 2 years. Came in at 647 and down to 552.
My name is Pernell Gray. I'm a basketball coach at Oberlin College. My goal is to lose 400 pounds.
I think depression is a huge factor in that, and people actually try to in a non-descript way, try to do themselves in using food as the weapon of choice. At some point, there has to be some kind of intervention, and because society is so geared to see these people as being fat and lazy and totally being the cause of their own problems, there's not enough sympathy or support from the medical community for this particular condition.
Well, it got to the point where, like I said, I was bedbound, and I just got tired of having my wife take care of me and had to do something about it. And we looked all over, tried every place, and my wife's a pharmacist, so she'd call doctors and stuff, and there was just nothing. And I went to the hospital because I had a lot of problems at the time, and they found this place.
But what makes Mark such an extreme case? We know millions of Americans suffer from depression. Why haven't they all gained weight the way he did? Was there something more complex at work? The food we eat and how we burn off the calories is a big part of the obesity picture, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Proof that genetics also play a role can be found on the Gila River Indian Reserve, home of the Pima Indians.